Hey everybody, welcome back to Generation X Nation. First things first, as always, thank you to everybody who has liked, who has left a comment, or who has subscribed to my channel. I definitely appreciate it, okay? Now we're gonna be talking about the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And I'm gonna try to make this quick because I do have somewhere to go. Before we get started, as always, my disclaimer. Everything on my channel is alleged in my opinion and for entertainment purposes only. Again, everything on my channel is alleged in my opinion and for entertainment purposes only. I do my commentary over here week by week based on the episodes that air on the television screen with the understanding that some things are left on the editing room floor. I don't control that, okay? I don't have a dog in this fight. Don't know any of these people personally. I just tell you what I see on the screen based on my life experiences, and I give advice how I see the scene should have played out or shouldn't played out, or what I think they were doing behind the scene. But in all honesty, it's just our opinion. We don't really know. Okay, so people, please don't take stuff like this personally. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Now, with that being said, let's get started on the show. The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Cynthia. Cynthia is playing the hell out of this friend role, okay? Every time episode airs, if you notice, Cynthia is meeting with a new group, a new person out of the group to find out what is going on and try to mend fences. She has met with Kate Michelle. She has met with Drew and Portia. She has met with Shamia last week at Lake Bailey. And this week she's with Angela, trying to find out what's the beef between her and Shamia. While they're going back and forth talking, Angela reminds her that it's the 1 year anniversary of her mother's passing. And she wanted to do something to honor her mom. And Cynthia said, hey, I've gotten the girls together and did a Cynthia Bailey Bowl. Why don't we try that? So they agreed to do a collaborative effort with the Bailey Bowl and honoring Angela's mom. I think that's a wonderful idea. Now, during the process of that, they're having their conversation about Shamia. And Cynthia lets Angela know that Shamia is going through some stuff and probably needs to go through therapy with her mom being sick, trying to do this IVF treatment, and so on and so forth. Angela was like, yeah, she probably does need a therapist. And Cynthia did allude to she don't think Shamia is going to therapy. So if that's the case, hopefully she has gotten therapy since the show has aired. Because we don't want to see Shamia um, break down. Now, at the end of the day, I've seen Shamia on social media. She seems to be doing good. She just posted a wonderful message to Gerald for Father's Day. So I don't think she's falling apart per se. But on the show, as you see toward the end, she does have a moment, and it kind of made us feel a little sad for Shamia. Now, with that being said, they go on to the next scene, and that's a real quick scene of Portia and her mom talking about the house, the memories, what Dennis did, bringing the ring back. Portia just told her mom, "I'm just choosing myself this year. I'm a date who I want to date, and it is what it is." Portia is getting ready for the house to be sold, and she just wanted to go there for one last time and soak it all in. Then we get to Kelly, and I'm gonna say this about Kelly. Kelly doesn't always. They don't edit Kelly to look that bright to me, and she doesn't always get the best scenes because we see a scene in her 2 weeks ago where she's coming out of the dentist with $70,000 worth of teeth. Now, I don't know what he actually did to her teeth or whoever the dentist was. Kelly's teeth looked fine last season. They looked okay this season, but apparently she needed new teeth. Now, me thinks if I am on the brinks of bankruptcy, that I could find something else to do with $70,000 instead of getting new teeth. Or maybe get some teeth that may not cost as much, get a few fixed, whatever. I don't know. But 70 grand is a lot, okay? She gets to her financial advisor who's trying to get her back on track. The financial advisor is asking her, hey, where is this money going? We look at Kelly's finances, and apparently $22,000 is going out. She's making, I think he said maybe, she says she makes $75 to $15,000 from each restaurant. One restaurant is making $75,000 a month. The other one is making $15,000 a month. The one that's making $15,000 a month is a new one, and she don't know what to do with. She has a hair budget of I think she said maybe close to $3,000. Her car is 2,000. The insurance is 600. Her makeup is 2,500. And I'm sorry, I think the hair was 3,000. And she said over 8,500 for clothes. The dog is 500, and she has a housekeeper. Let's look at the housekeeper. You don't need a housekeeper, Kelly. Clean your own house. Or maybe let the lady come by once a week to deep clean, or once a month, but cut the hours down, okay? Your oldest daughter's not there. You just have the two. You should be able to maintain the house. I mean, it's not like you got a big mansion. Um, I don't know what you're spending $500 a month on a dog. I'm assuming food. You must give them gourmet food if you're spending $500 a month on a dog. That can be cut out. $8,500 a month on clothes, and you're wearing a $140 Tom Ford t-shirt and confessionals is weird to me. If you're spending that much on clothes and you ain't even got just a decent shirt and a skirt or dress to wear, somebody lying here. But basically, he's saying almost $22,000 a month is going out to these expenditures that she's saying. The car, I mean, do you need a Range Rover? I know everybody in Atlanta drives nice cars. I guess you just have to do that to make look good. $2,500 a month in makeup. Maybe because you're on a show, it might be an investment because of you being on the Real Housewives. The $3,000 a month in hair, like what are you doing to your hair? Y'all stylists that's a lot of money for hair, $3,000 a month. And maybe I just don't know that because I have locks, but good Lord, that's a lot of money for hair. The point I'm saying is if you had $70,000 that somebody allegedly gave you to fix your teeth, why couldn't you took that same $70,000 and paid towards some of your debts? Or put it in a bank, or one of your kids' names until you got through with this bankruptcy, because you're out here looking for an apartment that's way above your budget. That house that she showed you was about $7,000 a month. He said you shouldn't spend no more than $3,000 to $4,000 a month on rent, so you're going to be shrinking down just a little bit. So you definitely don't need the housekeeper. That's money you save. I'm confused as to how your math is mathing. And you did say, of course, I was married and I had my husband here and we was living like, I guess living like that. And it was cool because you had an extra income. But you got to remember, the minute he walked out, that money went out with him. And you're not even getting child support. So we know he ain't paying none of your bills. Okay. So you got to it's okay to start over. Look at Robin Dixon up there in Potomac. When we met her, she was in an apartment with an ex NBA husband and two kids. And look where she at now. We don't mind rags and riches story, Kelly, but stop faking it, okay? I'm gonna leave it at that with Kelly. You had 70,000. You could have been using that for something more than to be getting your teeth fixed. Okay? That was just crazy to me. And I'm sure you're not paying Phaedra. She said it's pro bono, and you're probably not paying Shamia for the rent in that apartment townhome that you're living in. So get your money together. I'm gonna leave it at that. They show K Michelle. Thank God, no more plastic surgeries, K Michelle. Please don't put anything else in your body. Where just don't. We want to see you live to be 100 years old. Leave your booty alone. Leave your breasts alone. I don't know if you have some type of uh phobia, or I ain't gonna say mental issue, but something where you don't see yourself to be the beautiful queen that you are, but you look fine just the way you are. You don't need breast implants. You don't need it. Just leave yourself alone, Kate. I'm just gonna call it like that. You got silicone dripping around your body. Just thank God you're still alive and leave yourself alone. Drew and Portia has drawn up a great friendship. I love it. She's now working with her, and I think Cynthia. They have a line hair wigs under Portia's Go Naked line. Great job, because Drew and Portia have came a long way since last year when they was trying to get them to fight over Dennis. And that Portia wasn't even dating Dennis, but I get it. They were able to resolve that and become good friends. Take note. Take note to the other ladies. Um, Again, I don't know what's going on with Kelly. I hope she finds the home that she's looking for. I just hope she gets her finances together. I'm not going to talk too much about Pinky because y'all done seen Pinky all over the blogs. Pinky's on this show constantly saying how much money she got, how rich she is, but then the blogs are saying totally different, that you don't have this, that, and the third. Now you're selling one of your mansions. It's not worth, you're not going to be able to cover all your debt with that. But hey, at least you get some of it out the way. But Pinky, bring it down a notch, humble yourself a little bit. We still like you, but you got to stop getting on these shows letting people know how rich you are. Because you said your husband was going to pay your bankruptcy offer. He said he would pay it, so you just told him not to pay it. There's something not right there. And like what's the name said, you a lot you there's a lot of masculinity going in there. Let that man do what he needs to do to help you out as his wife. Just my opinion. Last but not least, we're gonna talk about the game finally. The game, the Cynthia Bowl or the Bailey Bowl slash Angela's memory of her mom event. It was really nice. All the ladies came in with their own team. It was at this gym. Everybody looked, like they was ready to play, except for Kelly. As much as they wanted to play as a housewife, because they got on face all beat up, wigs in there. Shamia got on latex pants. I don't know, but in titty shoes, they came dressed athletic as they felt. You know what I mean? Portia did have on, I think, a suit, and I think Drew came and Cynthia came to work out or to play. I don't know what the other ladies had on. Um, and I will say this, I appreciate the fact that Charles was a ref. I think Charles is loving being on television. Charles is the most present husband I have seen since Peter. You know what I'm saying? Outside of Peter and Nene's husband, Greg, may he rest in peace, in Apollo. I mean, Charles he's in that group. He likes being on TV. For some reason, Gerald don't show up for nothing. Gerald wasn't even there. Everybody else had somebody significant other there or something. Gerald was nowhere to be found. And neither was Kelly's Mr. Jarvis, unless he was in there and we didn't see him. Okay, but everybody else who had somebody in their life kind of showed up, even though they were off in the background. Okay, but anyway, they get out there and Kelly's running around in some heels. Kelly, I don't know if you do these things to get attention or draw attention to yourself, but just like one of the ladies said, I think it was Cynthia or Portia, or somebody said, that's what ladies of the night used to dress like. And they are exactly right. I forgot who said it, but somebody kind of made that comment in the confessional. It might have been Phaedra, because Phaedra kind of shady like that. And they are exactly right. It just was not a good look, Kelly. If you didn't have no doggone tennis shoes, tell me, I don't wear tennis shoes, then take it off and run down there in your socks or something. And I know you may slide down the court, but heels on the court is a no-no. There's no gym in America that will let you wear high heels on the court in the midst of a basketball game. Now I know they was doing that because they allowed them to do it because they was filming a show, but normally they don't do that because it ruins the court. Kelly, it just wasn't a good look. It just looked. I'm just trying to get some attention out here. That's all. I like the way she named the teams though. They were fitting. You had Chatty Patty, which was Pinky, the Godfather, which was Phaedra. You had the Minions, which was Kelly. The Blind Opposition, we know that's K Michelle. Sasquatch, which was I'm sorry, Shamia, and then the Go Naked, which was Portia. So the names fit pretty good with the teams. Now, let's just get to the last part because this really hurt my feelings or touched my soul or my spirit, as I like to say. So after the game, I don't know why Angela felt the need to bring up to Shamia what happened about her talking about her husband. Shamia said, "You came from my marriage." Angela said, "You talked about my husband." The back and forth, he in the streets, your husband in the streets, accusing her of sleeping with half the Hawks team. Shamia said, shout back at her that you F NBA player. And she said, "Yes, I married one." So the insults were just going back and forth. And then as she finished, then somebody else asked Shamia something. And I think it was Cynthia, like what was going on. And then she said, "I thought you and Drew had squashed this." And Drew said, "We did. I thought so too." But then she walked out on me. And then she said, "I walked out on you because you start mentioning Portia." And then they said something about a lap dog. And Portia said, "Now, I'm tired of this lap stuff. I don't want to be nobody's lap anymore." I get it, Portia. Like, leave me out y'all mess. Portia said she said, who lap you talking about? Don't nobody own my lap. She said, I'm just sick of y'all talking about my lap. So this was going back and forth. And then somebody else kicked in. Pinky tried to bring something in about Shamia and K Michelle with the whole comment about them being in the club. And she said, "My friends don't want you to hang out with me." It was a pile up on Shamia. Now, early on in the show, Shamia didn't even want to go to the event. But she decided to go out of respect for Angela's mom and her mom having health issues. So she decided to go. And she gets there, and that's what y'all do. Y'all piled up on her. And everybody was like, hey, this is supposed to be an event to just have fun, enjoy ourselves, and just leave the mess alone. Phaedra finally cut in and kind of said, hey, great event, Angela, yada, yada, yada. And they all hugged it out. But Shamea felt some kind of way. She felt like she was on the island by herself. Now, I will say this. I have been critical of Shamea. I have not liked the way she moved when it came to her friendship with Portia. But what I don't like to ever see on these shows is when all the people seem to pile up on one person. Now, did Shamea deserve some of that smoke she got? Yes. We're not going to sit here and pretend like Shamea didn't set herself up in certain positions where they came after her. Because Shamea did have it out for Angela. She did have it out for Drew. She got it from that table and walked away from Drew. And K. Michelle was sitting in that doggone truck singing the Star Spangled Banner. Her and Kelly was going off on Drew. Her and Kelly was going off on Portia. So it has been several instances where Shamea was getting into it with that crew. Now, if you remember in the beginning of this season, you had the newbies versus the OGs. And you had Shamea, K. Michelle, Kelly, and Pinky. It all started out in Dallas right before they got to Dallas on that Dallas trip. You know, Kelly was telling Portia she's sleeping with people's husbands and sleeping with married men. Her and Portia going back and forth. She calling Drew, Portia's lap dog, and she's calling her Shamea's lap dog. They going back and forth. They get to the house in Dallas. They say how filthy it is. They complain, complain, complain. Shamea going off in the car, going off on Angela. You know what I'm saying? Just back and forth. They went up somewhere with K. Michelle. She come back saying people plotting and scheming on her about the oyster comment and some other stuff. So they was over there just happy as a log. And they little newbie group throwing all kind of shade at the OGs, thinking they gonna take one of them out. And their biggest target was Drew and Portia. They didn't want to mess with Cynthia too much. They didn't know how Angela was going to come because she stood toe to toe. Because remember, Pinky and Angela was going back and forth at that table. Okay, back and forth. She told her I should have bought your houses and all this stuff. Okay, they thought that was cool. It was cute, funny, whatever, and it didn't work because they started to notice. Wait a minute, I'm trying to take the queen bees down. The show is centered around Portia. Let's just keep it a buck. Everybody hate Portia, but the show is centered around her. And either they can call Cynthia a friend of the show or not. Portia, Cynthia, and Drew are running the show. And they got Angela tag along with them because they like her. So these ladies was over here trying to take them down. Because remember, the season prior to that, they took down a big fish. They got Kenya off the show. So I guess they figure I can get one of these off, particularly Portia, and we can rule over here. Like Shamea could be the new Portia and this, that, and the third. Well, it didn't work that way because the difference is Portia has grown this season. Where the old Portia probably would have cussed y'all out and got into a fight. This Portia has been very, very good at restraining herself and not letting her emotions take over because she knows the position she in now. She understands that she is now leading the Real Housewives of Atlanta. There's no more Nene. There's no more Candy. There's no more Kenya Moore. So Portia got to step up to the plate. And she understands that as they say, the baton has been passed to her. And she ain't finna let them kick her off her throne. But in order to stay on that throne, she got to get a few people on her side. That's why she got Drew. That's why she got Cynthia. Of course, they're going to lean toward Portia. They old school OGs. They already been through stuff together. Okay? So that's why they're over here with Portia. Now, these people over here realize Portia probably not going to be taken down. So we might need to go and change course a little bit. So all of a sudden, K. Michelle, Portia sat down with her, try to have these conversations. All of a sudden, K. Michelle trying to have a little different view of Portia. I think I'm going to be cordial with her and stop going for her. And now she's not talking too much about Drew after that whole Star Spangled Banner thing. She kind of pulling back on that. You see? So now you have Kelly in the middle because I forgot Phaedra in my bag. Phaedra over there with the OGs. Kelly needs Phaedra's help. So now Kelly is like, oh, I can't piss nobody off. So if you notice, Kelly didn't say nothing in the argument. She was looking because she know Phaedra is over here helping her, and she knows Shamia is giving her a place to stay. So Kelly pulled back. Where normally Kelly with mouth would be running back and forth because you know she loves to get in the middle of anything that has to do with Shamia. But if you notice this particular episode, she was really quiet. She did not defend or speak or anything for Shamia. And that's the first because she's caught in the middle between OGs who helping her and trying to groom her into being a good castmate and Shamia, who's her friend, giving her a place to stay. So she said, let me not anger nobody. I'm just going to sit this one out. Okay. So now Shamia is standing over there. Where's my help? Pinky has went over to the OG side. She's sitting down with Angela. She's sitting down with Cynthia. She's actually having conversations with these girls and finding out they're not the bad people I thought they was. I can put my defenses down. She has sat down and had a conversation with Kay Michelle about Shamia and what happened in the club with her and her mom. So now they're looking differently. So that's why Pinky made the comment about, well, do you and Kay have an issue? And Kay said, I'm not going to argue in front of these people. If I got an issue with her, we're going to talk by ourselves. So Kay was not going to get into that argument and power on because even she felt, wait a minute, a lot of y'all coming at her and now you want to add me to the mix? No, I'm going to pull back. So even Kay is maturing just a little bit. And Shamia, you're left on the island by yourself. But see, what I always say, you are a victim of a circumstance that you helped to create. And now it's falling back on you. And now you're sitting there crying in confessionals that everybody's teaming up on me. But I want you to understand that it's not that they're teaming up on you. You just have to make sure you stay neutral and you pick the right team. Because the people that you teamed up with originally, they don't have what you have. If you walk away from this show, you got a big mansion, you got Gerald, you got money. You've always been that girl, even when you was a friend of the show. Kelly, and outside of K. Michelle, Kelly and Pinky and them trying to get their footing. And Kelly and Pinky are going through bankruptcy. So they're like, I ain't trying to lose my spot on this show. I got to pull back. I want to be here next season. And now they're looking at you differently because they don't want to keep going down the I hate Portia route because I think they're starting to realize, and maybe the executive producers or whoever their producers down the road after the show, the scenes end, talk to them and throw something in their head and say, hey, you might want to chill with that because it's not looking good or the audience ain't going to like that. It's not going to look good to the audience. But for some reason, they have really chilled out on the I hate Portia scheme and the I hate Drew scheme, and they're trying to be more neutral now. So now you look like you are on an island by yourself. And I feel bad for you because again, you're a victim of a circumstance that you created, Shamia. Now, should they pile up on her like that? Absolutely not. Not at that event. Angela shouldn't have said nothing. She should have took that L, I mean the W, that win they had that day, enjoyed the day, loved on each other, maybe went out to eat afterwards after they left the gym, and then they could have had the conversation. But it should not have happened there. And thank God Phaedra broke all that up and just told everybody, just give everybody a big hug and let's call it a day. My heart feels for you, Shamia. I do understand. I've seen, we've seen this on several shows from Potomac to Huntsville where women will pile up on one person. But we always got to remember to ask ourselves a question: how did I get here? And look at everything you've done since the season started, the positions you put yourself in, trusting people to have your back, and all of a sudden the people you thought was going to have your back are kind of slipping away to the other side. Because if this would have happened in the beginning, you probably would have had Pinky, K. Michelle, and Kelly on that side of the court with you going off on them. But if you notice, they were silent, didn't say anything. So all I'm saying, Shamir, we love you on the show. I hope this was a humbling experience for you, this particular episode, so you can know, maybe learn how to move a little better within the group and don't be so trustworthy that these people are going to have your back when push come to shove, because they showed you their true colors, and I hope you saw that clearly. Now next week they're going to Scotland. They're going to do that traders thing, which I love traders. I watched it when they was on the show. Hopefully some good stuff will come out of there. Hopefully Shamia will have a better episode. But yeah, we did feel sorry for you, Shamia. I don't like to see anybody, tear up like that. And I knew that was hurt for real. And you felt like you was alone. You felt like you had no support. And we don't want nobody on a reality TV show. I mean, it's for our entertainment and stuff, but we don't want nobody to feel like that. At least I don't. And you need to look them chicks in the face when this is over. You need to have a conversation with your little group there and find out why didn't they say anything or why didn't they have your back in that moment. Because every other moment like that, they was talking. Okay, Michelle walked out of the restaurant. You walked out right with her and went in that car and had her back and was singing the Star Spangled Banner. And she didn't say nothing right there. She didn't have to talk about your conversation, but she could have said, "Hey, y'all need to chill. We'll talk about this later." Nobody cut in but Phaedra. Nobody. The people you throw shade at were the ones who was trying to save you. Drew wasn't going to save you because you've been in her butt all day. Kelly didn't step in and say, "Hey, let's just end this." They sat there and watched it happen. And then Pinky questioned you. Okay? So the people who should have stepped up didn't step up. You know Portia wasn't going to say nothing. You know Drew wasn't going to say nothing. And Angela's pissed off at you. So the only people who tried to stop it was Phaedra and Cynthia. That's all I'm saying. Your girls didn't have your back that day. They didn't stand 10 toes down for you. So next time when you fight their battles, you might want to sit back and let them fight their own battles and watch just like they did you in that episode. That's all I'm saying. And with that being said, you know what? I've been watching the Real Housewives of Rhode Island, and I do a commentary on them every now and then. Them girls is crazy. They're in the reunion stage right now, and I may do a quick one this week or next week. I may do a mashup of part one, part two. But what I am finding out for sure, Ruella, if you watch the show, first of all, I'll be saying they kind of all look alike, and I'm finally getting to know their name. Liz, something wrong with Liz. Liz needs some help. Liz is just mad and angry for some reason. I think Liz may drink a little bit. Just again, ledge, in my opinion. Ruella, I don't know what is going on with you, but everybody and their mama know your husband cheating on you and know that film is legit. The video is legitimate. It's not AI. You said you ain't even looked at it, so how can you determine it's AI? And if that's who you want to be with, that's your husband. You don't want to divorce him, don't. Ain't nobody forcing you to. Joelle, mind your damn business. Golly, that's a nosy girl. She is so beautiful and so nosy at the same time. And I'm just watching the stuff going on in this reunion. Kelsey, I think that's her name, that was living in the mansion. That was a kept woman, aka paid, I don't know, the beauty queen who lived in a house where a man only lived with her for 6 months out of the year. And she thinks, girl, you are exactly who they say you are. This is keeping the buck. Stop trying to pretend it's more than that. And Rosie, you do get kind of nasty with people. You really do. So, but we'll talk about that because I didn't think Ruella's husband had the right to call the lady's job, and I think that did help her play the part of her getting fired, even though Ruella said it didn't. For some reason, Ruella cannot stand Joellen. I mean, every time Joellen talked, she was running off at the mouth. But we'll talk about that later. I got to get off the line, people. And with that being said, this is Gen X Nation. As always, y'all go out and have a great rest of your day. Shamia, we understand. We're giving you virtual hugs and we want you to come better next time. And this is Gen X Nation. As always, peace, and I'm out.